Hello, hello, beautiful people. Happy Friday night. I can't believe it's almost 7 o'clock my time. I feel like I have not stopped all day long. I was productive at my day job. I was productive in my meetings. I was just productive. I was a little crabby at one point, but I was mostly productive. Before I get into the L letters, I'm going to actually blow off steam now that I calmed down about it. So I've been trying to do some research, for the show and to help people in my circle. As far as gambling, recovery, and addiction, and just trying to understand. There's a couple things. One is that I may not have experienced everything or something that some of you guys have, or the people that I'm, soliciting for feedback. Or I also have, what a horrible memory I have, right? So I may not be connecting with all the things or remembering all the things because I'm just so busy looking forward all the time. I haven't really reflected back on those emotions and the pain, and all of that doesn't surface for me all the time. So I've been asking questions. It's part of my homework too. So I've gone into a few of the Gamblers Anonymous. Well, I don't know if they're Gamblers Anonymous. Gambling recovery Facebook groups, we'll call them. And I've been, I think, in most of them for at least a year or two. And there's waves when I go in a little bit more often than not. And lately I've been bogged down with my work and stuff, my school work. So I haven't been in there as much. Well, now it's part of the homework is to get answer to these questions in one of the classes that I'm taking. And one of the questions was, what didn't work to quit gambling? And what ended up happening, and shame on me because I let this impact me more than I should have. And I did try to talk myself out of it and go through the motions of what I would tell you to do if you were in this situation. But I think it started out with 2, and maybe by the end of the day, it's up to 4 or whatever. But people who are like, well, why are you asking something negative? Shouldn't you focus on the positive? Blah, blah, blah. And this is me trying to, now I have you guys as an outlet, and I'm sharing this with you as perspective, not just to be like bitchy about it. But here's the way my brain thinks about these things in these situations. And I called it in one of my coaching classes today. I said it was the addict Bobby, the Bobby who hasn't been working tirelessly on herself for the last 3+ years, would have engaged and defended myself and got my pissy pants on and been like, you don't know what you're talking about, right? Like all those things, definitely I would have done in the old days. And one of the things I've been focused on is being more mindful. And part of my mission when it comes to gambling recovery is not to be right, not to dictate what I believe is the right way. Sorry, my computer just did something wacky. So it's not about me being right. It's not about me having the loudest voice. None of that stuff is important to me anymore. All that matters is that everybody finds their way. Now, I might not be people's cup of tea, right? People might just listen to the show once and be like, this bitch is cray, I'm out of here. Or they just might not like the sound of my voice or the content or the way I explain myself, whatever. It doesn't matter. They have that choice, and that's okay. As long as they, I'm hoping that they find, maybe one of the other gambling shows or another resource. Like I told you, I'm intrigued by that one that doesn't believe in the 12 steps. Like I still want to listen to them more and understand their perspective. There's Dharma recovery, which I want to learn more about. I met some people at a conference last year, and those girls have a podcast. So it's not about knowing the right answer for everybody. I'm just trying to gain information, and I want to share it with you as much as possible. Now, I haven't been super focused on that as much with the Coping Well Coop morning and evening, that this has been more a journey to just share with you the day-to-day life of going through COVID, you know, with someone who has quit gambling, has been working on, you know, not drinking, not smoking, whatever, just kind of sharing with you my daily victories and my daily fails and whatever, and let you know that you're not alone in being on an emotional roller coaster. And hopefully, because this is what is important to me, is that you at least knew I was here for you every day since I came up with this idea, I think like 10 days into the quarantine, because here we are I'm on 78 and some of the world is functioning and stuff. But I just wanted you to know I was there with you. Like, you had some sort of support throughout this. Not that you had to, you know, take every reading I do in the morning as gospel, or you didn't have to do every single piece of the step work, whatever. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but that's kind of my view on it. And I'm very grateful that I'm not old Bobby, who would have gotten to confrontation with these people. And I hope, I think that their hearts were in the right place to defend the room if they thought I was spreading, negative energy or whatever. But a couple things came to mind, aside from even trying to not be like an addict asshole thinking like I'm capable of. But these people don't know me, and they don't know my motivation. You know, I get it. There's people out there that troll and prey on the gamblers, but they don't know any of that. So what I wonder is, now it's not my place to say that they did mean well or they didn't mean well. Maybe they were just looking for an argument. I suppose I could come from a place of judgment and be like, well, you know, they're still acting like addicts, you know, and being confrontational or whatever. Like I said, some of the names I recognize, so I think that they were trying to protect the room. And I get that. And it's a group forum, so they absolutely are entitled to their opinion. But when it went down to was, do I do that to people? So I took it as a learning opportunity. So it was humbling, like, okay, do I do this? Am I one of those, like, am I someone who looks to be combative? And I'm not. Like, one of the guys actually said, don't you want to focus on the positive? And my answer was, yeah. It was just as simple as that. Yes, I do want to focus on the positive. So, yeah, I guess I'm just saying, well, this was the other lesson too. This got me crabby first thing in the morning. And I don't know if it was because I couldn't stand up for myself or defend myself on some level. I hate motorcycles driving by. Sorry, they're kind of noisy. So was I frustrated that I couldn't be confrontational? Maybe that was part of it. Or was I mad that they were judging me because they didn't know the whole story? You know, if I felt that way. Anyway, it generated some emotions. Not that they're responsible for them. I'm responsible for them, which was the other part that I had to reflect on. So the reason I wasn't combative is, like I said, because of some of my own work, but I also want to be an example, a recovery example, whatever that recovery looks like, which is part of why I've been so diehard about trying to not smoke. And that's part of why I gave up the drinking, or why I haven't picked the drinking back up, I should say. And I still don't know if I ever will, but I just feel like it's hypocritical for me to drink and talk about addiction, especially when, you know, my drinking has been crazy through the years. So a lot of reflection today about that. And then when I got myself in that mood, really practicing what I preach to you guys and really be like, okay, these guys can't control my mood. I can control my mood. Let me reset. Let me reevaluate. And granted, I'm venting to you and I vented to Karen on her walk. It just really didn't sit well with me. And I'm over it now, which is why, well, I'm over it in the sense of like, I don't have the emotion of anger or frustration as much anymore. It just shows that there's a need, like wow. And I didn't even think of this until I'm saying this to you, but it validates the need for having other resources in recovery that aren't just black and white, that aren't just 12-step, that aren't just Facebook groups. There has to be more. And that's what I'm trying to learn here in the background. That's what all these classes that I'm doing are about, is about what does that more look like? What can I give the community who's still suffering? What can I give them? How can I give them hope? If you've gone to a GA meeting and it didn't work, or you've talked to a therapist and it didn't work, what can I do to fill in the voids and get you on the track to have a life to experience like I'm experiencing? Because I can't stress it enough. It's so beautiful on the other side, even though I have my good days and my bad days. But the feeling of not betting is just incredible. And the behaviors associated with not being caught up in the mess is just incredible. And that's what I'm trying to learn, how to communicate the best way with you guys. And maybe even on a more individual level or group coaching or whatever. Like the sky's the limit with the stuff that I'm learning. Obviously, I can't execute it till I'm done with the classes because there's not enough time in the day. Okay. Thank you for letting me do my rant. I really do appreciate the fact that I can come in here and talk to you guys when I'm excited or sad or happy or whatever emotion I'm feeling. I get to just share that with you and feel it. Like that's something that didn't happen for so many years. When you're numbed by gambling, you're not feeling your feelings. Like, who does that? So it feels good to just be able to do that and to process it. And, like tomorrow I'll be over this completely. It'll be one of the things I've forgotten about in the sense of an emotional connection. It'll still drive me to try to help educate people. But anyway, I will leave my soapbox now because we have a letter to do. We are on L. For those of you who don't know, my real name is Bobby Lynn. And I didn't even do Bobby when we were on B, but so I guess we can count my Lynn as part of our L's, but it's not one of the three. So the most popular one is, what do you think it was? It's probably easy. Actually, two of my words are 4 letters, but definitely the most popular one was love, which I thought was beautiful because that comes from folks on my page and then folks in these different groups. And I think that if I was to call out anything about love, it would be, in the sense of my priorities, you gotta love yourself. Like, without loving yourself and knowing that you're worth it, it's really hard to progress. So that's one of the major points about love. And then the second one is to try your best to spread love and loving kindness because the world needs it. We all need it. Even before the pandemic, even before riots, even before all this, whatever is happening in the world, which I need to learn more about. I listened to Paul again today. He did an Instagram video from somewhere in Utah, and he was explaining the science and what's going on with the world and his take on it. It was pretty intriguing. So as I learn more on that, I'll share that with you as well. And hopefully it's not like the game of telephone and I don't butcher his message too much when I'm sharing it to you. But yeah, I love the value that he brings to the world, and he's definitely one of my mentors. So the next 4-letter word is life. And we can't have a life without, we can't have the kind of life I think that most of us would want to have without loving ourselves, without, stopping gambling. I mean, my life is so freaking different. And I'm not even talking about material things. And I'm not just talking about emotions. I'm talking about relationships and conversations and how I show up for the world and how I perceive myself and the actions I choose to take and the fact that the future is bright, like all these things. I feel like I sound like I'm on speed tonight. I'm like, it's just been that kind of a day. I got really energized by my last 2 groups and I'm grateful for them for that. But I want everybody to have the life they deserve, which is a good life. You know, it sounds like my brother's still struggling. I want him to have a life like I have. I want him to have a good life. I don't know how to help him get there, but I that's what I want for him. And, you know, being sick is taking it away from him. And it's impacting everybody around him. And I need to, you know, just stress that there's ways to have a beautiful life on the other side of it. And then my last one, which I guess, you know, I always ask for positive words. And this one's positive in the sense, the last word is listen. So it's thank you for listening to the show right now. But I think listening is, I totally forgot to read their definitions. Holy cow. All right. I guess you're just getting off the cuff tonight. So anyway, listening to the voices in our head, right? Do we listen to the good voices, the voices that love us, or do we listen to the fear voices? I know I was having a hard time this morning and I was listening to the fear voices. I don't like listening to them. But listening to ourselves, when our gut is telling us something about a situation or a person, we need to listen to our gut. I need to listen in these classes that I'm taking. Otherwise, I'm wasting a whole lot of time and energy. I need to listen when I go to group and to meetings. And that's something that I've learned. I mentioned this when I was talking about my friend, I don't know, recently, how he taught me to listen better. And it's something that's so on his radar. And he's coached me and I've watched him in action. Just listen, like not interrupt people. Like I'm so bad at that. That's probably why I don't have a co-host, right? So I can talk to you just on and on and on. I'm kidding. That's not why. So listen is my final word. Listen to people that may know more than you so you can learn to and evolve. Listen to things you don't know just to learn and solve curiosity. It doesn't mean you have to agree or disagree. Listen to your significant other when they're trying to tell you what's on their brain and how your journey has impacted them or what their journey looks like. There's so many things to listen to. Listen to the birds chirping in the morning. Like my upstate New York ass loves listening to the birds as long as I'm awake. I don't like them waking me up. But that means spring is here when you're hearing them chirp outside the window. Listen to music when you're bummed out. I'm going to go listen to music not because I'm bummed out, but because Justin's on in about 45 minutes. So those are the L words for today. And I appreciate you letting me share my day as always and let me get kind of that perspective off my chest. I hope that everybody is off to kicking off a wonderful weekend. I think it's supposed to be nice. I don't really know because I haven't even looked at the weather. I shouldn't be predicting it, but all my days are starting to look the same. I can't tell if it's, Saturday or Monday, but it's definitely the weekend for you guys. So I hope that you're getting some love out of life and you're getting a chance to listen and you're getting to enjoy your life this weekend. Make time for yourself and, make time to be back here with me in the morning. Well, you don't have to. You can listen whenever you want. Who knows? You could be listening to this 10 years in the future. I may never know. All right, beautiful people. Bobby the Awesome needs jammies, maybe needs some food, and she's going to see Justin. So thanks for tuning in.